If there's one thing that you need to learn if you're building workflows and AI agents on n8n, make.com, or Zapier, it's this. And what is this? It's making API calls to other tools. Why is that so important? Well, because it is impossible for n8n, Make, or Zapier to integrate with every single software or tool or SaaS out there. If you know how to call APIs, you can build just about any workflow or AI agent that you can imagine. Whether it's on n8n, make.com, or Zapier, all of these tools allow you to make API calls. Let's drive this concept home with an example. Let's say you want to build a workflow that you're able to chat with, find a lead, and then download that lead to Google Sheet. Now, it's really simple to set up the chat node and the download to Google Sheet node on n8n because these are native on the platform. But what about the finding a lead bit? Now, to find the lead, you're going to have to use a tool such as Apollo, for example, or OctoCRM. And that tool is basically going to be the thing that n8n uses to retrieve information about that lead and then send it to Google Sheet. But how the heck do you access that tool? In this example, let's say we're using Apollo.io. Now, Apollo is a very popular choice amongst people who want to look for leads and then contact them. But if you go to n8n and search for Apollo, nothing shows up. That means that there is no native integration with Apollo.ai or .io. So in order to call Apollo's tool, you need to access their API. And to access their API, you're going to have to use the HTTP request module node, depending on which tool you're using, such as make.com or n8n. But if you're using n8n, then you're going to look for the HTTP node. Now the question on your mind is probably, where do I get the APIs from? So to do that, all you have to do is go to Google and search for API site apollo.io. Hit enter, and you'll find their API documentation. Over here in the reference docs, you'll see all the APIs that they have exposed to the public. You'll obviously need to sign up for an account before you're able to access these APIs. But these are all the APIs that you can access. You can search for people, you can search for organizations, you can create an account, you can create a deal, and basically everything that the tool allows you to do, you can accomplish by using the APIs. So there's basically two ways you can access API information. One is through the official API docs, and the other is through API marketplaces, such as Rapid API or Appify. Now, Rapid API is great because it has all of these developers who have created APIs for people to use, and most of these have a free tier that you can experiment with and really get to know the API before you implement it inside one of your workflows. For example, booking.com, it's not the easiest to access their API. You have to have some sort of a vendor account with booking.com in order to access that. But all of these people have made these booking.com APIs that lets you access their data. So if I go to this booking.com API that somebody's created, I can search for hotels by coordinates. I can get hotel availability, room lists, and so on. Another API that is super useful could be a YouTube transcript. So let's say you want to pull YouTube transcripts out of certain videos. You'll just go ahead and search for a YouTube transcript API on Rapid API and use that inside your n8n workflow to To show the example of how we will use HTTP requests in our workflows, we're going to build a very simple workflow where we submit a form with the ID of a certain video on YouTube. The HTTP request is going to fetch the transcript from that video. And lastly, we're going to generate a summary of the transcript to provide us some insights, or basically just a rundown or a TLDR of what that video was. So before we actually build this workflow, you're going to have to look for an API that you're comfortable using. To do that, just go to rapidapi.com, sign up for a free account, and search YouTube transcript inside the API marketplace. We've already done that, and this is the API that I'm going to use, mainly because I've already tested it out. And once you're here, if you don't see this test endpoint, you just need to subscribe, and it does give you free credits to use to test it out. And the most important thing over here is the parameter section, which has the video ID inside it. The video ID is from the URL of any YouTube video, and this is what the API uses to retrieve the transcript. So to test this out, I'm going to use this video, how to make an omelet like a chef, because who doesn't like making an omelet like a chef? Go ahead and copy the video ID from here. Go back to your Rapid API and insert the video ID here and click on test endpoint. After a few seconds, you will see the result in JSON, text, or headers. This is basically the entire transcript of the video, which is divided by timestamps. But if you scroll all the way down, you have the transcript as text without the timestamps. So this is going to be super useful once we pull it into our n8n workflow. Now to build this on n8n, just go ahead, sign into your n8n account, click the add first step, and over here search for form. Come on, form. Click on n8n form on new n8n form event. Give this a name, YouTube video transcriber. Transcribe a video using the ID from YouTube. Add a form element. Over here, we need the ID, which is going to be text and is a required field. Click out. And the next node is the HTTP node. So to get the HTTP node, just click on the plus icon, search for HTTP. You'll see HTTP request over here. Go ahead and select that. Now, when you go to your Rapid API, it's going to give you all the information that you need in order to build out this workflow. Let's go ahead and scroll up a little bit. Okay. So the app, from the table on the left, you see that this is a GET request. So go ahead and open up your n8n and make sure that the method is set to GET. The next thing you want to make sure is that this is a shell request that you're sending to Rapid API. The easiest way to do this is just to go ahead and copy this whole thing into your n8n, but we'll build this one by one or bit by bit. So you see over here it says URL. Go ahead and copy this and go into your n8n accounts. And inside the URL, we're just going to add that as it is. In authentication, you can leave that as none. And the next step is that we actually need to send headers and we don't need to send a body in this example. We do need to send headers. And those headers are basically the Rapid API host and the Rapid API key. The Rapid API key is basically that API that we were talking about. And you can see that the API is the same over here as it is over here. So let's go ahead and add the first part, which is the X Rapid API host. So copy that, go into your n8n inside the HTTP request. In the first parameter under name, just paste it as it was mentioned on Rapid API. In the value section, you need to make sure that you go ahead and put this, Control C, Control V. We need to add another parameter, which is the X Rapid API key. So to do that, we just click this and click this. And the value, you just need to copy the API key from Rapid API. Paste in the Rapid API key over here. And you'll notice over here that it already has the video ID pre-filled from when we tested the HTTP call from Rapid API. But we need this value to be dynamic, and we need it to come from the form. So to do that, just go over to YouTube again and look for a different video.
Hi, I'm Philip Tessier, chef partner at
Let's pause that. Copy in the ID. Go back to your n8n and create a test event over here. Submit the ID on the form. Click submit. And you'll notice that we have now sent data to the n8n form, which the HTTP request can access. Now we need to switch this part of the URL for a dynamic expression. So to do that, just let's make this a little bit bigger. Remove this part and insert. Oh, come on. So right after the equal sign, we need to insert the ID. And there you have it. And this should be good to go. And there you have it. The HTTP request has been able to pull the transcript from YouTube. It's just YouTube. The next node that we're going to add here is the ChatGPT node, or any AI node that you want to use to summarize sort of everything that is inside the transcript of the video. Let's just go ahead and search for the basic LLM chain. And why I'm using the basic LLM chain is because I can put my prompt over here, and then I can use any model I want. I can use Llama, I can use Claude, I can use Gemini, I can use ChatGPT. Whichever model I want to use, I can without having to change the entire prompt. So over here inside the basic LLM chain, to configure this, first thing you need to do is change the the source for prompt from connected to chat trigger node to define below, because we don't have a chat trigger node over here. And inside the prompt over here, we're going to add the scroll all the way down and the transcription as text as the main prompt. But then we also need a system prompt, or basically telling the LLM chain what it is that we want it to accomplish. In fact, I already had this prompt written out with the help of ChatGPT. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that in. Expression, let's make that. You are a witty summarizer AI. Input is a full transcript of a video. Task, break it down into a clear, detailed summary in bullet points. Guidelines is capture the main ideas, key events, and flow of the video. Keep the bullets concise but packed with info like quick highlights. Write in a fun, engaging tone, not dry. Perfect. Now we have our prompt, the user prompt, which is the actual transcript, and we have the system prompt as well. Now we need to add the model that we want to use over here. We're going to use, as always, OpenAI, GPT-4o Mini, and that's it. Let's go ahead and test this out with another video. The 4 most profitable businesses to start in 2025. Sure.
These are the 4.
Pause this. grab the video URL, go back to your n8n, and click on, let's name this workflow first. The workflow is called Create a YouTube Summary. So execute the workflow, submit the ID, submit. The HTTP request node is running. And once it's done, it's going to pass on the information to the basic LLM chain, which it has. Now let's take a look at the result from the basic LLM chain. It should ideally give us bullet points of a summary of some sort, which it has. So the summary is, the schema is just giving us basically a snippet of the text, not the entire text. If you want to see the full text, you can go to the table or the JSON part. Over here it says, sure thing, here's a fun bullet point, blah, blah, blah. Set effective onboarding, offboarding processes to keep your clients happy and thriving. And yeah, this is basically how you can build stuff using HTTP requests. You want to use HTTP requests for tools that are not natively available on the platform that you're building the automations on, like n8n or Make. You can grab the APIs from either the official websites of those tools or through API marketplaces like Rapid API or Appify. If you found any sort of value in this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe. And I'll leave a link to download this workflow that we built inside the description. Download it, upload it to your n8n, tweak it to your liking, and let me know in the comments, what would you use the HTTP feature for? Is it even useful for you? I'll see you in the next one.